Kidman has officially filed for divorce.
One of Hollywood's longest-standing couples, meticulously carving up their assets and sharing custody of their children.
I'm just happy to have found my great love. I mean, it's that simple.
You are not going to believe this, but Keith Urban just revealed the truth about why he walked away from Nicole Kidman. And it's nothing like the polished story Hollywood has been feeding us. Forget the red carpet kisses, the picture-perfect Instagram posts, and the interviews where they gushed about each other like teenagers. Behind the scenes, this marriage was crumbling for years. And now, the real reason Keith left Nicole is finally out in the open. It's messy, it's dramatic, and it's about to make you question if one of Hollywood's golden love stories was ever real in the first place. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were always presented as that fairy tale couple. You know the type. Two beautiful, talented stars who made it look effortless. The Oscar-winning actress and the country music superstar.
I just often think that if you weren't at that event, maybe you don't have the same friendship group, it may never have happened.
Well,
never know.
You never know.
It's fate, it's the universe.
Anyway, moving.
A glamorous Hollywood meets Nashville love story that fans could root for. But let's be honest, no couple is that perfect all the time. And in their case, the cracks started showing way before the divorce papers hit the headlines. Nicole Kidman wanted a marriage that matched her ambition and her second act in Hollywood. After years of being one of the industry's most bankable stars, she was suddenly experiencing a career renaissance. Big Little Lies put her back on top, Nine Perfect Strangers kept her in the spotlight, and the upcoming Practical Magic sequel had fans buzzing. She wanted her husband, Keith, to be there, front row, cheering her on. But here's where it gets tricky. Keith, who had always been celebrated in the country music world, was struggling with the fact that outside of his fan base, Nicole's name carried way more weight. He wanted to be seen as a star in his own right, but instead, he was often labeled Nicole Kidman's husband. Nicole wanted support, but Keith allegedly couldn't give it. Whether it was ego, jealousy, or just plain exhaustion from living under the Hollywood microscope, he started pulling away.
Big, epic, romantic drama.
Now tell them about the movie.
While she was on sets in New York and Boston, he was out on tour, surrounded by late-night parties, endless traveling, and whispers that his old demons, addiction, partying, even the temptation of other women, might be creeping back in. Nicole, who's built her image on discipline and control, reportedly felt humiliated and betrayed. It wasn't just that Keith wasn't there for her, it was that he was actively choosing not to be. So what happened? To keep up appearances, they leaned hard into the Hollywood playbook. The hand-holding at premieres, the lingering kisses on red carpets, the speeches about being each other's everything. It was all part of the act. Friends close to them say it was rehearsed, a way to sell the illusion of the perfect couple while they were actually living like strangers at home. And the illusion worked. For years, fans bought into it, believing that Nicole and Keith were the real deal. But behind closed doors, their connection was more business than intimacy. Then came the turning point. Nicole started showing up at events without her wedding ring. Keith stopped mentioning her in interviews. They were both too busy to be together, but people who know say that wasn't about work. It was about survival. Living separate lives was easier than facing the cold silences at home.
Celebrate the meeting.
Well, we celebrate the meeting, I hope every day.
You know, have met each other. We always say that.
They allegedly agreed to quietly separate months before the official divorce news broke. Think about that. While we were watching them smile on carpets, they were already over. What's even juicier? Rumors started coming out that Keith wasn't just distant. He might have been distracted by someone else. Hollywood whisperers claim that during his tour, Keith was spotted at after-parties, surrounded by young bandmates and industry hangers-on, and Nicole's friends began urging her to stop covering for him. Whether it was actual infidelity or just the fear of it, Nicole reportedly felt like she couldn't keep pretending. And let's not forget, this wasn't the first time Keith's personal struggles threatened their marriage. He went to rehab just months after they tied the knot back in 2006. At the time, Nicole was praised as the one who saved him, but nearly 2 decades later, many wondered if those demons ever really went away. Some people think this marriage didn't collapse because of jealousy or addiction. It collapsed because of competition. Nicole was on top of the world, commanding headlines and awards.
still wanted to try and make the marriage work. Well, not too long after that, we learned that she had kind of given up on that ever happening and had in fact filed for divorce.
Keith, while still successful, wasn't getting that same attention. And when one half of a couple starts shining brighter than the other, resentment has a way of creeping in. People close to them say Nicole grew tired of being the supportive wife to Keith's rock star lifestyle, while he wasn't doing the same for her. Imagine juggling prestige projects, kids, and global press tours while your husband is out living like a bachelor on a tour bus. That's not balance, that's rivalry disguised as romance. And if you think that was bad, let's talk about the kids. Nicole and Keith have 2 daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret. On the outside, they always appeared to shield their kids from the media spotlight, but those who know say their parenting styles couldn't have been more different. Nicole, with her Catholic upbringing and love of structure, wanted her girls raised with discipline and faith. Keith, on the other hand, was more free-spirited, living life on the road and leaning into the chaos of being an artist. Add to that the geography problem, Nicole wanted more time in Australia with her family roots, while Keith wanted to stay in Nashville where his music empire is planted. It turned into an emotional tug of war, with the kids caught in the middle. Some Hollywood insiders believe the entire timeline of their split was calculated. Nicole didn't want her personal drama overshadowing the release of Practical Magic 2, and Keith didn't want rumors of divorce to tank his tour sales. So, according to the whispers, they staged it.
Of their 14 and 17-year-old kids, talking about possible child support, alimony, everything like that was already squared away, and they had both signed off on it. So while
they quietly separated, played the happy couple long enough to protect their professional commitments, and only when the timing was right did the news break. By then, the assets were divided, custody was squared away, and both sides were ready to spin the story in their favor. Remember that old saying, "Every silence screams louder than words"? Well, that's exactly what people close to them say happened here. Nicole reportedly started confiding in friends that Keith wasn't just absent, he was emotionally checked out. He wasn't reading her scripts, wasn't celebrating her wins, and wasn't there in the moments that mattered. Meanwhile, Keith's circle was allegedly told to avoid even mentioning Nicole in interviews, like her name was off limits. That's not a marriage. That's a slow motion breakup. So then the question becomes, what really ended Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's marriage? Was it Keith's demons coming back? Was it jealousy over Nicole's stardom? Was it the calculated decision of 2 people who cared more about image than intimacy? Or was it all of the above? The truth is, it was probably a little bit of everything. Relationships don't collapse from one fight. They collapse from 1,000 little fractures that finally break. And for Nicole and Keith, those fractures were hiding under the surface for years. Hollywood's golden couple, the one everyone thought had cracked the code on love and fame, was just as flawed as the rest of us. Maybe even more so, because they had to pretend every single day that they weren't. For fans, it's shocking. For those in the know, it's not surprising at all. The writing was on the wall. The missing ring, the solo appearances, the cold silences. It was only a matter of time before the truth came out. Now, in the aftermath, both Nicole and Keith are reportedly moving on in their own ways. Nicole may lean into her global career, taking on more projects in Europe and beyond, while Keith is expected to turn heartbreak into music. Because if there's one thing country stars know how to do, it's make a hit out of heartache. Their kids will remain the priority, of course, but the days of Nicole and Keith as Hollywood's perfect couple are officially over. And here's the thing, you and I both know Hollywood loves to sell us fairy tales, but sometimes those fairy tales turn into cautionary tales. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban weren't immune to jealousy, resentment, and old wounds. They just hid it better than most, until they couldn't anymore. So if you thought this was wild, make sure to hit like, drop a comment with your thoughts on Nicole and Keith's split, and of course, subscribe so you don't miss the next big Hollywood reveal.